In Kenya, it's the final day of election campaigning for most of the presidential candidates for Tuesday's election. Yesterday, President Uhuru Kenyatta held his last campaign rally in Nairobi with a call to all his supporters to shun violence during the election.
Uhuru Park grounds. This is where President Uhuru Kenyatta launched his bid for a second presidential term 3 months ago. On Friday, he made his last speech to the capital city's voters.
Do not agree to fight because of politics. Somebody will tell you to fight your neighbor, and yet they live in protected neighborhoods.
Here in Nairobi, some Kenyans concerned about possible post-election violence have fled to their rural homes. Kenyatta told his supporters to stay put. He made them make a vow to keep peace. Kenyatta is running on a platform of what he terms an undisputed development record. Former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, who is running for the presidency on the National Super Alliance ticket, will hold his final rally on these same grounds on Saturday. 6 other presidential candidates are in this year's race. Sarah Kimani, SABC News, Kenya.
Well, for more on Tuesday's election in Kenya, we now cross live to our reporter Aldrin St. Pierre, who is in Nairobi. Good morning to you, Aldrin.
Well, good morning, Pearl. As you can see, that campaigning here in Kenya continues. Right now, we're actually in the Rift Valley, where we expect Uhuru Kenyatta to be passing by as they push for the final votes, as we understand that this is a stronghold of the Jubilee Party, considering that William Ruto, the deputy of Uhuru Kenyatta, is from this area. As you can see at the moment, quite a busy place. As you can see as well, that the infrastructure development that has been taking place as well. And we understand that from the locals here, that's one thing that Uhuru Kenyatta has been praised for. However, though, if you look at Raila Odinga's campaign and what he says in his manifesto, as well as the 90-minute, what they call presidential interview, which was supposed to have been a presidential debate, he spoke about the issue around the rent, which is in his manifesto, in the National Super Alliance manifesto, that they want to reduce the cost of land. In the background, quite interestingly, is that you can see that we have vendors here. These are people who have raised issues around water in the county, saying that there's a shortage of water infrastructure, and that's the reason why they've come out here. So what they're doing basically is that they come out, they fill these barrels with water, and this water will then be resold. So it's just an indication of the water infrastructure problem that Kenya is facing. However, though, in the background, you would have the hawkers here sitting here, and they are quite happy with the level of infrastructure that has been taking place, as well as the roads being widened, and then of course the railway that was recently launched by Uhuru Kenyatta, of course in conjunction with the Chinese infrastructure company and Chinese infrastructure development bank as well. So they are quite satisfied with the current developments in Kenya. And quite interestingly as well, Pearl, is this area where we found ourselves is Rift Valley. If you remember back in the 2007 elections, this was one of the areas where things really turned violent because of those elections, and because of those elections that were taking place, and the results of those elections being contested as well by Raila Odinga. This is Raila Odinga's 4th attempt at becoming president of Kenya. One doesn't know whether this time around he will be successful. However, if you look at the polls, it's quite a tight run. Nothing compared to what's happening in Rwanda, where you look at Paul Kagame, and I've just been saying this on Twitter as well. Paul Kagame won by 98% the presidential elections there. We can't call it a landslide victory. There must be a word for attaining 98%. Not a chance for any of the two front runners of getting 98% if the polls is anything to go by. Another issue for this area, of course, is the issue around security. Security is a major issue. Remember that last week, Saturday, it was the death or the murder of the IEBC's ITC head, that is Chris Msando. Lots of people have been raising issues around that as well. Considering the issue around security, you also have the issue around Al-Shabaab, but the police are saying that they are on top of things. They've also said that the KDF, the Kenyan Defence Force, is also on standby in counties that border Somalia.
And that was Aldrin St. Pierre coming to us live from Nairobi in Kenya.